So my name is Vijay. I work as a security response lead, and this is Ankit. He works as a threat analysis engineer. Today we would like to present you with our talk, Wire Me Through Machine Learning. So this is the agenda for today's talk. I would be discussing on the first 3 points, which are in fact quite interesting, and then Ankit will cover the rest. Oops. You can use it. All right. We would like to mention this is our first talk, so we are expected to make mistakes. Please ignore them. Also, this paper or this session will cover a large portion on human factors or human components, and will not include any code snippets or machine magic, so please don't expect that. All right, you can disagree on any of the points. We really don't mind. Let's get started. So, has anyone heard about what business email compromise scam is? Many people are unaware about it, and this is quite interesting. It is one of the biggest deals in the cybercriminal world today, and doesn't even require a large amount of funding or capital. All it takes is some good research and social skills. So business email compromise scam is a targeted attack, a type of whaling attack, in which the scammer impersonates as a CEO or an attorney or a vendor and targets people who are in control of financial payments. So it is remarkably simple and relies more on human psychology instead of a sophisticated computer malware. So, these are the features. It doesn't require any technical exploits. It usually creates a sense of urgency or a need of urgency, and here timing plays an important role. So, the findings from semantics telemetry has shown that these emails are particularly sent during work days, Monday to Friday, to create a sense of urgency. I will be talking more on this particular point in a few minutes. These emails are kept short. They are usually sent in simple text so that the target or the victim complies with that. Due to this unique characteristics, business email compromise attacks have impacted over 400 organizations worldwide from the data obtained from semantics telemetry. And as FBI has reported, it has impacted in a loss of $3 billion. The common subjects observed in this type of attack include keywords as payment, request, or a reply flag is added to the subject. So you must be wondering that how a scammer goes ahead and selects a potential target for this attack. So let's get started. Social engineering. Yes, I know. This is one of the oldest art of exploiting human psychology in order to steal information, and that too valuable information from anyone, except animals. So in this case, let's dive into some of the factors, how this particular attack can be achieved. This can be achieved by tweaking some of the defects in the human psyche. And these defects are fear, curiosity, insecurity. So let's dive into these factors. For this particular session, I would be taking an example, and let's consider Alan. So do we have anyone named Alan? This is a fictitious character. So, I'm sorry. So this is a fictitious character which we have developed. So Alan is a nice guy. He's a polite guy. He's very much attentive. He loves his presence on social media networks such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, MySpace, etc. He likes to accept requests from strangers. And I guess he must be knowing that stranger equal to danger. But still, he loves his friend zone. He likes to accept requests. So one fine day, Alan receives an email from his CEO, Jim. And Jim sends an email saying that I need an urgent wire transfer, and how soon can that be done? What Alan does is, Alan quickly glances through the email, looks at the display name, which is Jim, obviously CEO, and sends him the required information. Now, you must be thinking that Alan is so much attentive, right? Alan has responded to this email in quick moments. But I feel that Alan is a crackpot. And why that is so? Let's explore Alan's state of mind. Alan has replied to this email due to fear of authority. And what is fear? Yes, the same old unpleasant feeling that if I don't respond to this mail in the next couple of minutes, what will happen? And this goes on in his mind. The scammer is perfectly looking for darling people like Alan to exploit human psychological errors, like fear. Then comes curiosity. Now, you'll say that curiosity isn't a defect, and I'll argue with you, because curiosity is about clicking that fancy URL which you receive in an email saying that, hey guys, do you want to check up last year's party's photos? Click on this link. And we go ahead and we blindly click on that link. And that results into trauma and social consequences. It impacts our organization too. So there are other factors such as a lack of confidence or insecurity, wherein the guy isn't sure whether to reply or not, and in a hurry, he does the same old mistake. He replies to that email. So these are a few of the factors which lead into or which can be exploited by the scammer or the attacker in order to gain a potential victim. Also, Alan has a poor social network hygiene index. Now, what's that? It's all about how we present ourselves over the internet. It's what kind of it's a thing wherein what kind of data is posted by us over the internet, on Facebook, on Twitter. This data can reveal many things about us. This data might include private information, and this information can be used by the scammer to select a potential victim or to perform RECON. So, and why do I mention that? Because BEC attacks are targeted attacks. They are not sent in mass. They are sent in order to, target few people, like the CFO, the financial accountant, the financial manager, people who are associated or who are in control of financial payments. The very first step for this attack is RECON and profiling. The scammer has to perform a RECON in depth, and this can be done with the help of freely available or publicly available data. This can include social media profiles, like the one which I mentioned, like Facebook, Twitter. Even if he doesn't sends a request, if he's a stranger, he can still grab some data from Twitter, from LinkedIn, from MySpace, through different applications such as RECON NG, as it is available in Kali Linux. It crawls through different APIs and gives you the essential data. Next, the company website. A company website reveals a lot of data. It reveals a lot of things such as which person is assigned on which post. For example, who is the CEO of this company? He's been working here for how many months or years? Who's the CFO? The hierarchy of an organization plays an important role in designing and executing a BEC attack. As we know that this is one of the simple Google search queries known as Google Doc, wherein you can query down it with Chief Financial Officer and the email, and you can obtain email addresses. And you don't have to pay for this. This is freely available. Twitter search. Twitter search can be an essential part wherein the scammer can obtain data for a person or from a person, such as the number of followers he has on Twitter, the number of posts he has uploaded, the clock time of each and every post, and how attentive he is on Twitter. This can also be used to create a user or to create a profiling of that person. LinkedIn, without without being a connection, you can simply search a few details of the target. And after the request has been accepted, you can gain information, or the scammer can gain information such as the birth date, the company ID, the personal email ID. There are various online sites which are used for email validation. One of the sites which we found was hunter.io, which gives you a perfect pattern or validates a pattern, whether it's true or false, in order to create an official email addresses. So business email compromise scams are sent through compromised email IDs, wherein the email addresses are spoofed or typo-coded domains are used. So hunter.io have used Ankit's email address, wherein it has mentioned that this is a valid email address. So I don't have to search on different sites. I can simply gain this information through here. It also validates whether this particular email address exists or not. So once this information is gained, the attacker can use this for profile fingerprinting. Applications such as Maltego. And I'm pretty sure there was a session on Maltego, I guess yesterday or day before yesterday. So Maltego can be used to create user profiling. It only needs some basic information, and it can reveal these things. As earlier mentioned, RECON NG, available in Kali Linux, can glance through different APIs and obtain really good information. So once this information, once this bits and pieces of information is obtained, the scammer can use this information as an input data to obtain features from it, to extract features, and move ahead with the machine learning part. My dear friend Ankit would be covering the part. Thank you.
Hello. I hope you can listen me clear and out. So as we are short of time, so we have to cover this part a little bit fast. So why do you think attacker might need machine learning? Obviously to increase the success rate and get more money for him, or machine learning can help the attacker to predict if the attack will be a successful or not, or there are many anti-spam filters out there. So machine learning can help the attacker to actually bypass all those anti-spam filters, which are both signature based or machine learning based. So also to acquire the list of targets, they can use machine learning. So what is machine learning? Machine learning can be used to predict various outcomes of new data based upon the learning from old data. So for our case, we used supervised machine learning, and for any kind of supervised machine learning, you need some ground truth to train your classifiers on. So what we did is we digged into Symantec's anti-spam telemetry, and we got the profile of people who were attacked in past. So remember Alan, the guy about whom Vijay was talking about? So let's say one fine day attackers decided to attack Alan, Dave, and Lisa. So what they did is they simply did the reckoning and finger profiling of them and sent an email to them. And based upon that email, they got a reply from Alan, and they didn't got a reply from Lisa and Dave. So they marked Alan as a success of the attack and Lisa and Dave as the failure. So the logic behind considering reply as a success and non-reply as a failure is that the kind of profile who is replying are more prone to such BEC kind of attacks and compared to the one who is not at all replying. So, it's all about social engineering and human behavior. Human nature is too unpredictable. So prediction cannot be 100% accurate, but yeah, up to some extent it can be. So features like such as age, sex, number of LinkedIn connection, Twitter followers, etc. Was extracted, and based upon that, other things were done. So let's consider there is a attacker or a group of attacker who are attacking since last 1 year or 2 years or 6 years, And every time they are attacking and collecting data for the potential victims, they are also collecting all those data. And based upon the reply, if they are getting the reply from those profiles, so they are marking it as a successful reply. And if they are not getting the reply, so they are marking it as an unsuccessful reply. So using that data, they can actually train their model, and that model can be used to predict from the new data whether the attack will be successful or not. If the prediction says yes, so they'll go forward and attack. If the prediction says no, so they'll simply blacklist all those profiles. And after the attack, if let's say they attacked 100 people, and out of 100, 80 replied and 20 didn't reply. So in that case, they will again use that data to feed it back to the training model, so that machine can learn by the time that, okay, this so machine can learn that, okay, this kind of profile is not attackable, or something like that. So as we already discussed, we used supervised machine learning for this. We use a tool called RapidMiner, which was the free version of the tool. So we collected the relative data based upon the profile of people who were attacked in past from semantics anti-spam telemetry. We used SVM to train our model on, because that gave us the best results compared to all other algorithms like logistic regression and random forest. For performance evaluation, we performed k-fold cross-validation, where the original sample was randomly partitioned into k equal size, and performance on all data set were done, and performance was also recorded. So we have a small video. I don't know whether you guys can see it or not clearly, but on the left-hand side, you have all the data transformation and all those things going on. And so, yeah, so it's not clear, I guess. But on the left-hand side, we have the labels, which we predicted. And on the right-hand side, is on the prediction, the machine gave the label. So these are some of the labels which machine gave whether this attack can be successful or not. So we did it using RapidMiner tool. So what were the test results? Test results were, we got an accuracy of 83.3%, and for all the false, the below is the confusion matrix. You guys can check it later on. So the AUC was around 0.925, and the precision was 93.64, and recall was 81 point something. So you must be wondering why we have got only 80%, not 100%. So we are not trying to show that, okay, this is the perfect model. It's still under the experimental phase. So model design can depend upon the type of data attacker is having. If attacker is having some better data than us, then in that case he may use some other model or algorithm to train the model on. So this is just a POC that to prove that even social media profile can be statistically related, and we can get the prediction if someone's profile is hygienically good or bad. So last comes the design and execution. So we already identified the target using the machine learning model. Then comes the email crafting. Emails like, are you at your desk, or are you available to answer this call, are too generic to be blocked by any spam filter or anything like that. So he can also use the news feeds for current acquisitions, or pretend to be a vendor and wait for some kind of invoice to be processed. Or he can also use a very known method of creating the deception. So we got this semantic.com. You can see this is a non-ASCII character, and you can register this domain for $3.99 only. So any attacker can also register a similar kind of domain to attack some organization or target. So also the timings play a very important role in machine learning. So we have some timeline for Twitter of some guy. We'll discuss it later. And we have some of the keynote plans and travel plans of some of the CEOs, which company flaunt on their social media websites, and unaware of that these can be also used by the attacker to actually predict when to attack those organizations. So this is a timeline of Alan, about whom Vijay was talking about. So we can see that when he goes to bed and what he does at what time. So after that, send an email and wait. Attacker, after sending the email, the scammer need to wait for the reply from the victim. And if he gets the reply, he can use his further social engineering skills and social engineering skills to convince the victim to transfer the wire his amount. So as we are from White Hat community, so we should give back this community something. So some of the potential use case other than from the attacker side is we can use this type of model to check social media hygiene of any person, or we can do human penetration testing inside the organization, or we can also find out the potential targets before the attackers can actually find it out inside the organization. So, people think that anti-spam filters are in place and will protect them against the email scam, but that's not the case. Anti-spam filters are meant to block the spams, but not the scams. So what should you do? I think you should try to make the training more interesting and related with the real life of the employees. Tell them that how can they actually leak the private information and pictures and or money. Last but not the least, be very, very suspicious while replying to any kind of email. And you might forget everything about this black hat and all those talks, but remember this image. Be very, very suspicious while replying to any email. So some of the black hat sound bites. More than enough personal data is available publicly, which can be used for social engineering. Machine learning can be used for offensive, for target profiling and finding high-value targets. And as the attacker may start labeling the profile with proper success and failed emails, the machine learning model will become more and more accurate, and they can attack more people. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, our speakers will be available to take questions and have conversations in the speaker wrap room down the hall.
One of your slides in pink?
No.